How's it going? Welcome. It is Sunday at noon, and I'm going to say a prayer really quick. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Sophia Ya Aika. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Sophia Ya Aika. Omni Mater Ergo Logos Inanna Sophia Ya Aika. Please help us to have a great day and help us to get to the golden age and become the best versions of ourselves possible. Thank you all for joining me. It is a beautiful day here at Mount Shasta. There are a ton of people outside enjoying this nice weather golfing. Hi, Bob. Hi, Rick Vive. Hi, Atreus. Scuba Maru is here as well. Bob says, I viewed an episode of the Queen's Gambit last week and realized not having played the game in so long that I had forgotten in passant move. Yes. I use that a lot of times. It's fun when people don't know the moves and you can pull that off on them. It occurs to me that the game appeals to the Queen of Mount Shasta because the Queen is the most powerful piece in chess. Yes. Well, those that rule our world are also, very chess focused. It's a game that's been around for countless cycles and is played by species other than human as well. And it's like an integral part of our reality, the Masonic checkerboard. It's more like a chessboard. And yeah, all of that. Hi, Andrea. How's it going? So today I wanted to, obviously, as the title says, talk about Satan being a controlled opposition. So at the beginning, we should start with defining Satan, ha-Satan, from the Hebrew, meaning the adversary. And right now, Satan, a male Jinn, which is a being of smokeless fire, is the one who is contracted to God to corrupt humanity. And that's where the whole controlled opposition part comes in, because he's literally contracted to God to do what he is doing. A lot of people are mistaken to think that he is set against our creator, when in fact he actually is just anti-human. The creator that created him, in all of the glory that he sees himself, also created humans. And so it's not that he's not anti the creator in general, just that the creator is focusing so much on humans, which, brings in a whole jealousy aspect, being jealous of humans. And that's usually where the evil stems from. What he's doing, what we read in the Theessenes Gospel of Peace, and a little bit we will read, I'll read from the Bible that is also showing the same thing. But the Theessenes Gospel of Peace was saying that Satan basically takes a tally of the evil that we do, and then all of those tally marks have a certain amount of payback that can be done to us. So in that regards, when he's, punishing people that are doing evil, that in itself is not what's evil. What's evil is his own underlying jealousies, which we'll kind of get into in a little bit. So as the story goes from Islamic texts, the creation of Adam was about to be revealed, and God basically said, dun, 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 here's Adam, and then told everybody in the heavens to bow, which included a whole bunch of different, species and souls. And the story goes that Satan, being a Jinn, was like, no, I'm not going to be bowing to that creation. And then eventually came up with the offer to basically be contracted to God to corrupt humanity. So there's two things going on, right? There's the contract, which is between him and Yah, essentially. And then there's his own feelings, right? His own personal distaste for humans, which, helps him to make us into clowns, right? It really drives, it's a driving force for him. But the way that I'm kind of seeing it is that the contract is kind of like keeping him in these certain bounds. It doesn't, he's allowed to do so much, but then up to a certain point, right? There's not an infinite amount of evil allowed into this reality. This is a very controlled reality. Everything is controlled. And the mother, sorry, I was reading that, the comment that says Inanna, but I was trying to say the mother, Sophia, ultimately decides, how much evil is allowed in, how much darkness is allowed. And Satan kind of is like the final straw. There are definitely entities, there are definitely souls that are worse than Satan, that actually have the hatred of the mother, to where if they were allowed into this reality, it's not that they would, not go do evil things that we see happening. It's like their driving force is actually to end this physical reality. So the mentality of those that are like truly evil, more evil than Satan and Satan himself, are also different in that. Like, Satan isn't against this physical reality. He's not trying to end the reality. He just wants to, be center stage and not have humans be center stage anymore, right? He sees humans as the problem, get rid of the humans, and then, maybe return back to the Jinn, and then Satan would be happy, right? And him and his buddies could be center stage again. And then their jealousy, at least towards us, would be gone away with, because we wouldn't be here anymore, right? But yeah, there are souls that are not allowed in here, that are more corrupt, that do want to seek to end the mother, and Satan ultimately doesn't. He's also, made of physical matter. He is made of smokeless flame, smokeless fire. So if, this spiritual, if this reality ceases to exist, his existence is going to cease to exist, at least physically, right? The soul will still go on, but Atreus is commenting about the tallies that is talked about in the Essene Gospels. It says, so those tallies translate into tribulations in this life. Yes, that is mainly what they were focused on in the Essenes. But, our souls, I'm not really sure if we can be completely paid back for all of our evil in one lifetime, or how that all works, to be quite frank with that. So, yes. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So, hey, Fizza, how's it going? What was I saying? There's a lot of people here today. Yeah, Satan being a Jinn, these beings of smokeless fire can live for like a really, 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 really long time. So, like I've said before, it's actually not even just them. It's like every species, every creature, every soul has, in their own self-interest to do what they need to do to continue living, right? When it comes down to it, like, most souls are going to do what they need to do to ensure their survival, their safety, and especially going into this tribulation and the time where Satan's power is shifting, where Satan is going out and the queen is rising. The inverted clowns and other Satanists are, a lot of them are starting to jump ship and actually start to purify themselves out of need, right? Out of self-preservation, that they don't want to have their heads chopped off or be purged. Like, they align with whatever entity is in power so that they can themselves keep going. So I've said before, I'm willing to work with people that have, been used by Satan as puppets before, and if they are willing to turn from evil and do good and align with the vision of the golden age, then that's what matters. Ultimately, there's two paths, right? So at the current state, the Satanists own everything. They run our world, and, they have underground bunkers and stuff that we don't know about. So they own everything. And when we're trying to get to a position where they don't own everything anymore and somebody else does, what is it saying? This transition of power is happening, and a lot of the inverts are transitioning because they don't want purge. But what I was trying to say is that to change the situation, we could either go in hardcore and purge them all and just, no second guesses about it, just start to off with their heads, or, which is a really high risk timeline, right? Once you start going in and chopping people's heads off, then it's likely that that's going to come back and happen to you. Or we can try to work with those that are willing to change and do good and work with the golden age. And that's what I personally, the route that I am choosing, when it comes down to it, when I'm on the other side of my life, I have to look back on my life and my decisions, and I don't want to have a bunch of innocent blood on my hands. Yeah, okay, they're not innocent at all, but I'm saying that if they were willing to change and stop doing evil and be good, and actually do it, not just wanting to, but actually doing it, and I were to just go and kill them and not give them that opportunity, that is a wrong on my part. Like, I think that they should have the opportunity to change and be better. So like I was saying in a few videos before, I'm willing to work with people that have been part of the system and have been born into these, have even chosen to come into those roles. I'm willing to do that, because the goal is ultimately the golden age, and I'll do what I need to do to get there, right? So yeah, that being said, on July 12th, 13th, July 13th, I'm going to be hosting the second annual Mount Shasta Vegan Festival. And Mark Sargent, I would like to extend an invitation to you to come out. I will make sure that you are granted safe passage, and everything goes smoothly, so that we can figure out the plan for the future and change the world. Like, there's no reason to keep delaying this. Things are already getting worse, and I would like to solve it as quickly as possible. So let us get on with it, shall we? ND Ram says, good evening. Hi, how's it going? So as far as the whole having Satan contracted, the reason being that, ultimately Sophia is seeking wisdom, and there's only so much wisdom that can be gained when humans are left to themselves. And by adding in the corruptor, it brings in another element that opens up a door for wisdom to be gained. And obviously we see that Sophia allows some of the clownery to continue, a lot of the clownery to continue, a lot of abuse to continue. And because of all of this evil that they, I gotta stop reading the comments, because I was reading Bob's comment and then I lost my train of thought. Goodness gracious. Yes, okay. Because of all of the evil in the world, of people, want to blame God and talk bad about him without an understanding of our own actions putting us in this situation to begin with, and fueling the situation, as I keep saying over and over and over again. It's like we are literally fueling the New World Order by just enslaving other species. That one thing alone, it is a karmic justification for us to be enslaved, and we should. So yes, Sophia doesn't want this to be a clown show, and obviously our creator doesn't either. When we are clowns, when we give into the temptations of Satan, we make our creator look bad, right? And we are putting Sophia, making her look like a clown, corrupting her, corrupting ourselves, and neither of them actually want this. Yes, they do allow for free will. I tell people, if they didn't allow free will, you would be crying about that. You cry if they do allow free will, you cry if they don't. It's like, stop crying. Like, if you don't want to be here, then don't be here. Everybody chose to be here. So, yeah. They ultimately want us to choose to do what is good and what is right and become the best versions of ourselves possible to make them proud. And this realm being designed ultimately for wisdom means that nothing is guaranteed. There is no guaranteed ending to this story. If there was, how much wisdom could there be gained if there was a predetermined story, right? Obviously, our creator and Sophia have their ideas of what they want it to look like, right? The ideal story would be, going through this Garden of Eden and then falling into corruption, going through the dark ages, which we're coming out of now, right? Humans are asleep. These are the dark ages. Then we are awakening, where the light is being born. The light is shining into all the four corners of the world, all of the darkness, illuminating the darkness and changing it, right? We're coming out of the darkness into the light, and the best story timeline would be, to see this whole coming full circle back to like a Garden of Eden, to corruption, back to purification, and actually a story of redemption, right? That's ultimately what it is. Hey, Demetrius, how's it going? Yes. So that would be the ideal story. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen, but this time it is going to happen. We are going to create the golden age, and we are, working on that right now. So that's really exciting. But there are forces at work against us, trying maybe even harder. I was going to say equally as hard as us, but they might even be trying harder, because for the most part, the forces of darkness are extremely unified, whereas they use all the divide and conquer schemes against us and get us to fight over every single little thing, rather than coming together against them, as you guys already know. So they are working against us, and we need to come together and unite against them. Having a unified vision of what the future is that we want to manifest is really important. So if you haven't seen my video about what is our future, what does the golden age look like, I definitely would suggest you do that, so that you can start to dream about the golden age. Any other ideas that you have, I would love to hear as well. Hey, Daniel, how's it going? Rig 5, I'm not really sure about any of that. I would need to see, well, the beginning part at least. I think I've heard the other stuff before, but anyways, like I said, anyone who has done evil can ultimately stop doing evil and choose to purify, and that's what is the most important thing to me. So yeah, I'm not really concerned about staying in like, I am not really worried about how any other truthers are seeing me or anything. It's like, I am worried about getting to the golden age, and if people don't understand why I do what I do, then I mean, I've tried to explain why, and if they still don't understand, I guess that's really their fault. I'm just going to press on and do what my soul came here to do. Ultimately, I am here to stand against the forces of Satan. I can't stand that humans are made into clowns. It bothers me at a soul level, the degeneracy that I see. Like, it really, really bothers me at a core level. I can't really even like express how much of a problem it is for me. And that's what my soul comes here. So I come here to fight these forces of darkness. But ultimately, I know that everything in this reality is controlled. Even the Bible talks about Satan. I mean, obviously, everybody that watches me knows that I don't blindly follow the Bible, but it does have information in here, good truths, and also things that need to be discerned out, right? But if you look in the book of Job, it actually has Rig 5. I'm not really sure about, do you have proof that their mother changed their name? Anyways, I personally, like I said, I'm willing to work with anyone who's willing to purify. So whether other people trust other people or not, like, that's just not what I'm doing. So anyways, in the book of Job, it has, now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came among them also. So that is obviously telling us that Satan is, like, going before God, and then it shows them interacting with each other. So it's not like he's in a far off entity. Him and God have like an actual relationship. And like I said before, he's not anti-God, he's anti-human. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? So we see that, Yah is like saying, hey, did you check out Job? And then if you keep reading in the story, basically Satan is sent to go and tempt Job. He loses basically everything in the first part of the story. He loses his oxen, he loses his donkeys, he loses servants, he loses sheep, camels, and his brothers or sons. I don't know if it's his daughters, but his sons as well. He losed. He lost all of it. That's the word that I'm looking for. Wow, that was a struggle. He lost all of it and still didn't charge God, basically. And that was kind of the whole point of the story, that he never really got mad and blamed God for all of the evils that was happening to him, for all of the things that was happening. But the point of bringing that up was that we see that God is interacting with Satan, and even says, have you checked out my friend Job over there, and tested him, basically. And yeah, the whole point is that Yah and Satan, like Satan isn't against Yah, he's against humans, and people don't understand that yet, I guess. So that's one of the main things that I wanted to explain to you. And him being contracted to Yah to do what he does means he's controlled opposition. So yeah. As far as Behind the Curve mockumentary, by the way, I actually posted a video where I watched it and commented on it. I'll post that in the comment section. You can actually type in the whole title of the thing with Queen and on a Snow at the end, and it still doesn't show up the video. That's ridiculous. All right. Flat Earth mockumentary. Yeah, anyone who woke up to Flat Earth early on, Mark Sargent actually was the one that woke me up, although I didn't know that it was Mark until years later. I saw the Under the Dome full documentary, and it was like I watched it and I was awoke. Like, there was no questioning Flat Earth for me. It was like, that is obvious that that's the truth. That's what makes logical sense. So I accepted it right away, and I actually just moved on to other topics. I never stuck around and got into the Flat Earth YouTubers and watching their videos and subscribing and coming back for more. It's like, why are we even still talking about this? Like, it's a very basic elementary truth. But anyways, I woke up in 2015, and at that time there wasn't really any banning over Flat Earth videos at all. But nowadays, when you try to research Flat Earth, for somebody that's new coming in, they can type in a whole video title length, or the whole title length long, whatever the heck I'm trying to say, and actually not even see the video because it's being so heavily shadow banned. So I do feel bad for the people that are still sleeping, although I don't really tend to spend much time debating with them, because there are a lot of shills and people that are even paid to, or even inverts that know full well that the earth is flat, and they'll just go in there and argue with you just because, and then you'll be like, you're stupid, and then they're like, no, it's actually you that are stupid, because you don't realize that I know the truth. They're playing a joke on you. So yes. But anyways, a whole network of shills was set up, not only with Flat Earth, but with every topic of discussion pretty much, so that we would be in underneath the teachings of inverts with every different topic. And I've spoken about that before. It's just another part of the controlled nature of our reality, that all of the top YouTubers are controlled, all of the top everything, right? The the Hollywood A-list celebrities, the so-called royalty, the models, the everything is controlled, completely controlled reality. So goes right along with Satan being controlled, right? But yeah, Satan is controlling our world right now mainly through the inverted clowns. Like there's evidence of a great deceiver all around us. So people that want to say that Satan doesn't exist, when you look at globe earth deception and evolution and all of these, especially the ones like globe earth with all of the detailed intricate numbers, all 666 here and 666 there, like this wasn't done by humans. Humans are not that smart. Like I know that humans like to think that they're really smart, but really humans are not that smart. They did not come up with these deceptions. These deceptions were come up with beings that were much more intelligent than us. And yeah, the Jinn in particular, like Satan, have a thing for math. So when, with numerology and all of these numbers that are adding up together and just like a long mathematical equation that's 10 chalkboards long, like they just like get off on that. So they're the ones that are responsible for all of the 666 adding up and like all of your numerology and everything, right? Hey, Kali, how's it going? And the fact that all of these inverts it's a worldwide deception. It's a worldwide, like all of the space programs of different countries are all in, saying the same deceptions. It definitely goes to show how much control there really is. And that being said, a lot of times, just everywhere that we look, they try to use fear to control us and manipulate us. And it's kind of ironic because they themselves are also controlled by fear. Some of them do what they do solely because they are afraid of Satan. Like they don't, like if you were a Jinn and you lived a really, really long time, and basically when Satan's in charge, you're under the threat of, if you don't do what he says, then you're in trouble, and then there comes a time when Satan's not in charge anymore, and there's entities that are only doing what they're doing because they're under threat for whatever reason, because it's what's in their best interest to keep going. And as soon as the rulership changes, they're waiting for it to change so that they don't have to do what they're doing anymore. So yeah, controlling through fear. I've mentioned before about these entities that live for like thousands of years, like a really, really long time. They become even more afraid of death because they're so old. They've lived through so much. They've had so many experiences. They've gained so much wisdom. And not only like our creator's not making new Jinn, new reptilians, new Nakash, like humans are the focus right now. So it's like if they die as that other species, then their chances like come in as a human or whatever. It's not that they get to come back again as a Jinn and start all over again and try to start living for very long. So Rick Fi says half the things I type don't show up in the chat. Are you using trigger words? That's usually what happens. If there's a word that you think might be, just try to use different words, and then you can probably post the same thing just with different. Yeah. I've noticed that before too. With sometimes when I post, it's like you have to just change your different words because they're really, really picky about what we say. Obviously, getting even worse, as you guys all know. So yeah, as far as Satan being the kind of like the most recent Satan. There being Satans before him. I'm not sure. I don't actually have any information about those Satans that came before. I know that he's not the first. But as far as, like, was that Satan maybe anti another species? And then that's how that role was taken on. I'm not exactly sure how all of that works. If anybody has read any text or anything about that, I would definitely be interested in in learning about that, but a lot of the stuff that we have, scrolls and teachings and stuff are only from very recently, this cycle only, and hiding our past, as you know. Always trying to deceive us, and even trying to say that the original humans were cavemen and we evolved from pond scum, when the original humans were in fact extremely intelligent, had advanced technology. They weren't deceived to think they live on a giant spinning ball. If you look at every ancient culture and religion, you read their text and see what their cosmology is, you will find flat earth every single time. The same depiction of this enclosed realm through every single culture. And then you look outside and you're like, oh, wow, they were right. We're taught that the ancestors were stupid cavemen that, went around with bats and beat on their heads or something. Like, I don't even know what. I guess I actually was never taught about cavemen personally, but I was personally taught creation and not evolution. So a lot of the things that other people were taught, I haven't been taught, thankfully. I always thought atheism was really stupid, but they do teach cavemen as part of our history, and Year of the Dog. I seriously can't concentrate, and I think you know why. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but if it's too hard to concentrate with the video, then just listen to the audio. Another thing about those that come against Satan in this reality is that they are obviously demonized. We see the feminine divine specifically being demonized constantly. There was some posts about like the Statue of Liberty and this other, maybe it might be in Bulgaria, I'm not 100% sure, but some statue of Sophia, and they're posting like, these statues have penises. It's like the Satanists, of course, are going to try to demonize and corrupt the light bearer, the purifier, the ones that stand against him. As we read in the Essene Gospel of Peace, Sophia, our mother, does stand against him. So it makes sense that she is being demonized all the time. The light bearer, Lucifer, that nickname used to be for Venus when she rises before the sun bearing the light, but now it's supposedly for a male who is a corrupter. Like, a lot of these religions don't recognize anything about the feminine divine, or even go as far as to say that it's demonic, even though in this very book, in Proverbs, it talks about Sophia and says that she was with Yah before he created the world, that finding her is more precious than rubies and stones, or rubies and silver, bits and pieces of the feminine divine, and the truth of it here and there. But then you have the pastors and the mainstream teachers teaching against it. I personally make the connection of, honor your father and mother as in heaven, so in earth. We have we have an earthly mother and an earthly father. So it makes sense to me that there would be, a father and a mother acting in creation as well. And that's where the whole Yah and Sophia come into play, and them co-creating together, him being like the potter that molds the clay and her being the clay. And ultimately she can say, no, I don't want to be that, or yes, I do. So she ultimately has the final say. And people, again, want to blame God when they don't understand that he is really just doing what he does. He is creating this out of her, for her, out of love. So this whole creation, I fully believe, was made out of love, and that our creator has good intent for us. And obviously with mainstream religions, even unfortunately the Bible, really demonize Yah, and make him look like a bloodthirsty psychopath. And it's just really sad if you look out in creation and how, if Mother Earth was left alone, she would be producing fruits and veg and free food everywhere. There's enough there's a bunch of trees so you can go and make a house. Like there's enough supplies on the earth that produce naturally to take care of us, right? Like we were put into a perfect Garden of Eden, and that tells me that our creator isn't evil, right? If he was evil, he would put us into a world that is only a hell. Right now it's a hell because we have manifested it that way. We ourselves have done this. Like if we stop doing evil, then we will stop having an evil world. It's really that simple. So it's really sad to me when people blame Yah for everything instead of understanding the situation and looking at their own actions. ND Ram says, do you think that the jabs we got when we were like 3 or 4 still have some sort of effect? A lot of people, for sure, definitely. I mean, especially when they get different diseases and sinus issues and all of that kind of stuff for it. So yeah. Also a cumulative damage, I'm not sure how much people, when you're just constantly putting junk in and you're never actually detoxing the body, how much of that stuff can actually ever get out? Like, I don't know. It's a good question. Definitely, that there are long-term effects for things, especially the current thing that's going on that I'm not going to get banned for, being, that spike protein that they talk about being from HIV and being used. It's like you're injecting HIV, and that's really, really, really stupid. Anyways. Yeah, I don't believe also that they are giving out placebos either. I think that if you ask for it, you're getting it. It's like, this is a depopulation event. This is not an actual science experiment when they're taking tallies to see, who has what effect. It's like that's not the actual point of the situation that we're in. I've seen no evidence that they are using saline. I know that there was people saying that, the people on TV getting them must have been, but it's like, how do you know there's anything even in that? Like Hollywood TV stuff, they do things all the time. It doesn't mean anything. So yeah. And a lot of them don't even, like, they have the cap still on the end of the needle. It's like, how do you know that it's even saline? Their cap is still on it. They didn't put it in. Like, it just, yeah. Anyways, I don't want to get in trouble. I've actually had 2 I had a ban about a few weeks ago, a week ban where they removed my unfortunate truth about the truther community video, and then shortly after that, in the meantime, I've had 2 other videos taken down. One was taken down January 5th called Resist Mandatory Vaccinations, and the other one was taken down January 18th, and it was called Urgent Coronavirus News. And yeah, so they're definitely cracking down more and more. Rig 5, why don't you put it on Facebook or send it to me there? Fizza5 said, Fizza001, I guess I was combining your name with Rig 5 above it. Okay. Fizza says, certain batches have bad effects. They're testing what strength dose is effective. How would they even keep track of that? I personally just think that they are getting generally worse over time. It's not like this batch of 10 is this bad and this batch is like, I just don't feel like that's what's happening. I think it's more like a generalized thing with them, like each progressive, one getting worse over time. I am really skating on thin ice here, so I better watch out. There are many different ways that our enemy is trying to depopulate us right now. Obviously, that being a major one, using 5G and chemtrails and depleting the nutrients in our food, in the soil, and then giving us, the whole promotion of veganism that's happening right now by the Satanists is a processed food, chemical, grown in lab, like junk, not what our bodies are truly supposed to be eating. They are trying to control the awakening, just like they've controlled every other aspect, right? They literally are the ones that woke us up to flat earth, but people, didn't say, I'm just thinking of the current excuse that they use, like, oh, Satanists are promoting veganism, so it must be evil. It's like, well, first of all, they're the ones that woke us up to flat Earth. So does that mean that flat Earth is wrong? I mean, there are definitely controlled facets to flat Earth where we're all taught, the same AE map model. Like, there are definitely deceptions in it, but the point being, like, they have literally tried to control every aspect of the awakening. So veganism is obviously going to be part of that. And the one that they're promoting, their veganism, is all this chemical junk. And then even if you have inverts that are promoting pure veganism, then usually they are promoting drinking pee, doing enemas, putting things up your bum, like, not okay, guys. The corruption, right? They can promote purification only up to an extent. They have to slip in some sort of corruption. So if they're promoting veganism, you're going to see pee drinking, LGBTQ PBR promotion, enemas, like all other types of corruption with that. They can't just effing vegans, yes. Oh, so gross. Can you even imagine kissing somebody that drank their pee? Like, I don't even want to be friends with somebody that drinks their pee. Like, what is wrong with you? ND Ram says, do you think the lizard people thing is a hoax? I think that there are a lot of different species that we are not able to see, obviously, and different types of lizards or reptiles, reptilians. I definitely do think that they are real, and the ones that are ruling our world today being human hybrids. I just got told today, someone was trying to say that so and so was a lizard in human skin, or a reptile in human skin, or something, or a reptile possessing that. Like, they're just really confused about all of these things. And the truth of the matter is that they are hybrids. They're, part human DNA. They got a human body, but their DNA is mixed with other species, whether it's, the Jinn or Nakash, like snakes, reptilians, like the dragons, other DNA, right, that makes them not a human, not fully human anymore. And they are obsessed, as most of you already know, with keeping their bloodlines pure, inbreeding, and pure blood to them, like, is as far away from human as you can, right? There are, Yah's creation, A, B, and positive. And then the O and negative coming from hybridization, mainly from the interaction with the Jinn, shapeshifting into human form and impregnating human females. But other mixtures have happened since then. Mean Green Meme Machine says, hello, how's it going? What's the problem with enemas? It's even mentioned in the Essene Gospel of Peace. It is, unfortunately, mentioned in the Essene Gospel of Peace as a very disgustingly corrupt passage. If I was sitting there and listening to the purifying Christ talk, and then he told me to go get a gourd and sodomize myself with it to do an enema, I would be like, what are you on? Like, what is wrong with you? Putting anything up your bum is corrupting, and especially if you're a boy and you're shooting warm liquids up your butt and getting pleasure from it, like, that is a giant leap in the wrong direction, okay? The bum is supposed to be an exit, and that's all. Don't ever put anything in your bum, okay? JL says the fact that they are in both sides make more confused, and people don't understand what is wrong anymore. Absolutely right. Yes, they try to control both sides of the situation. They have celebrities or people promoting both sides, and then they even have scientific studies, right? We all know that scientific studies are a matter of people getting paid a lot of times, and peer reviews are, for let's say a globe-trotted person to walk in and do a peer review, he's going to be going into a room of his peers that are equally as deceived and saying, here you go, check out my paper. And so all of these deceived globe-trotters are like, yep, right on point. Like, a peer review oftentimes is just complete nonsense because of these issues of your peers are just as deceived as you are. And that being said, there's actually, if scientists want to come out and speak the truth that they found that goes against the current status quo, then they get shut down as well, right? Like if a genetic engineer comes in with a paper that says, DNA not mutating means that Darwin's theory isn't true. Like if they were using the fact that DNA is self-healing, that healthy DNA can't be modified. I meant to say modified, not mutated. Healthy DNA can't be modified. Using all of the actual facts that any genetic engineer that tries to, modify DNA and studies it extensively will find, if they try to go and then present those facts to their peers that are evolution believers, they're going to get shut down. The paper's not going to get promoted to us because that would go against the deception. So we have to be really careful with all of these, scientific reviews and stuff, because they're often biased and all that. Race Lover says, that's why I personally peer review everything myself. Much better outcome than just peer review. Well, I guess if you like beer, that works. I personally am not a fan of beer. 54SH1K4NT says, hi, hello, how's it going? The Israelite says, wow, people crap stinks. A horse has to get enemas because they eat many apples and get constipated because of bad diet. That is really sad. I did not know that, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of weird things happen in the animal industry because of them being fed unnatural things, being in unnatural situations. Just, that's so gross. I can't even imagine trying to go and give a horse an enema, or those people that, go around and impregnate cows. They got to stick their hand in the cow's backside. Like, what happened to you as a child that you do this? Like, that is wrong. That's scary. Anyways, back to the Essene Gospel of Peace. The Gospel of the Holy 12 is the one that changed my life, and those texts obviously have corruptions in them, like this whole sodomizing yourself with the gourd thing is really off. It's pretty much one of the main corruption, I think, that has seeped into the Essenes. And obviously that's bothersome because they really impacted my life. And so, yeah. 54SH1K4NT says, Satan is my blood brother. Okay, well, I'm not sure how that would work because Jinn don't have blood. JL says, if being homosexual is natural, so why sodomite is satanic? It is not natural. It is from abuse of various forms, whether it is, a lot of times the child is sexually abused as a child, emotionally abused, or even chemically abused if they are given the wrong things. There's articles that talk about atrazine and it being linked to male frogs laying eggs. There's articles about mercury being linked to male birds being gay. And these things are being heavily sprayed and used, different types of plastics and hormone disruptors being used. And not only all of that, but then you have all of the bombarding from Hollywood and all of the programming, them trying to teach children in kindergarten that, safe sex is anal sex or whatever. Oh gosh. Sorry, I'm saying, oh gosh, at 54SH14 saying Satan in the flesh is Mark Braun. Mark is not even, I don't have any evidence that Mark is even a real male, Mark Braun. So yeah, I think that they are an FTM, which means that they're definitely not Satan in the flesh. Satan in the flesh is actually closer to the red drag monster that used to be a part of, or the head of, Satan's network shill in the flat earth community, who shan't be named. Mark says, you keep getting recommended to me at the strangest time. Sorry I came in late. We'll catch up after the show. Stay strong during these difficult times. Thanks, Mark. July 13th, I'm having a full moon celebration, the second annual Mount Shasta Vegan Festival. So you should definitely come out for that. It is on a Wednesday. And yeah, it will start at sundown. Reese Lever says, first angry birds, now gay birds. Yes. The Israelite says, I'd rather not have to give enemas. However, when it's life or death to save the life, a last resort to save it. No harm or anything sexual. There is never a time when an enema, when putting something up someone's butt, is going to save their lives. I don't know who told you that, but that is not a true thing. Like, it is never necessary to put anything up anybody's bum. And as far as if you're giving enemas to horses because they're eating improperly, well, then stop giving them improper food. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Hey, Faith, how's it going? Faith says, hey, Queen, I hope you're well. I am doing great, thank you. It's a beautiful day here. Johnny D says, nothing has ever caused me more anxiety and confusion than the Bible, to be honest. I constantly go back and forth about it, obsessively. It's bad, LOL. I hear you on that. The thing is, it's like the Bible with all of its scrolls and verses and stuff, like whatever side of any debate you want to be on, basically, you can use verses to support it, right? It's like set up like that. So all of these religious texts designed to keep us all separated. And, obviously, when I first became a truther, the whole idea of like a one world religion and government, obviously under the inverts, it's wrong. But it's like, if all humans weren't deceived anymore and we all believed the truth, and, in that, it's kind of like, if we all believe the truth, right, then it kind of would become almost a one world religion where everyone believes the same because it's believing the truth. For me, that is what it is. Let's see what Leviticus 17 says. For the life of a creature is in its blood, and I have given it to you to make atonement for yourselves on the altar. Guess what? I don't follow any satanic creep who requires innocent bloodshed. So yeah, Leviticus 17:11 is a corruption. That's all I have to say about that. And it's promoted by Satanists. This person is talking about Mark Braun, which is the blood over intent Satanist, who literally calls themselves Satan. Like, I don't know how much interaction you guys have had with any of the blood over intenters, but all of the ones that I've interacted with basically regurgitate the same demonic things. Like, if you don't cut yourself, then if you don't bleed, then your creator isn't going to know that you're alive. If you don't do blood over intent, then you're necrophiliac and you have sex with dead people. And like all of this really satanic, just mentally disturbing stuff that leads me to believe that them doing this blood ritual where they chop themselves up and produce blood out of their flesh is actually binding them in a satanic ritual to demons. And those are the demons that are coming forth. How about eating flesh? Eating flesh is evil. It is something that the corruptors of humans taught us how to do, and us eating the flesh of others just puts karmic room out there for our flesh to be eaten. And we all know, well, I don't know if we all know, but many of us know that those that are running our world find humans to be very, very tasty, just like a lot of humans find animals to be tasty. So yeah, I kind of like to see the bigger picture, and it does bring me a little bit of happiness to know that there is karmic repercussions for those that are doing evil, especially to the animals, the helpless cows and all of the millions of animals, billions of animals that are slaughtered needlessly. It's like, it's good to know that there is going to be payback for all of the evil deeds. Hopefully people will stop. Johnny says, thank you. Exactly. Thank you for saying it. Yes. Yep. It's interesting. We're talking about the Bible being confusing, basically. it's interesting, even the Abrahamic religions don't line up with what their beliefs are, right? So they can have one faith starting from one supposed guy and then branching off in all these different directions, still not believing the same things but claiming to. It's like, it's crazy, but yeah. Have ever felt like being in a space-time loop? I don't believe in space, and I don't believe in like time loops, but I do believe that we are going through a cycle, and that we've gone through these cycles before. But the fact that, you know, we have free will, and there are like, anything can happen. Even if you have like a cycle that's kind of repeating in general, you can have different actions being taken and different outcomes. It kind of reminds me of that a long time ago when I used to play video games. There's this, well, I guess it still exists. I mean, the game didn't cease to exist just because I stopped playing it. But there's this Telltale Walking Dead game, and you can basically, like, it'll come to parts in the storyline where you either choose this decision or choose this decision, and then your gameplay will actually change based on the decision that you make. That's kind of, in a way, how I see the reality that we are in. Like, we come to a decision, and then, whatever we make, it can drastically change us from the timeline that we're in to either a better or a worse timeline. And as far as timeline goes, people that talk about seeing the future, there are, sometimes entities will give people glimpses into the future, whether they're good or bad entities, for whatever reason that is happening. What was I just saying? This person just said, exactly, harvesting human souls. No, not harvesting human souls, because we chose to come here and can leave at any time. As far as telling the future goes, seeing one future is just one timeline. Like, if that's one possibility, okay? And if something happens, it could completely change that. So, the future isn't set in stone. So someone could potentially have a vision of the future, and then another option is chosen, and it changes the timeline. So no one can say for sure what the future holds. The Israelite says, well, I was in the hospital and made me take drugs that made me all stopped up. Constipation, and it hurts so bad, not being able to go to the bathroom. Yeah, well, the problem there would be that the hospital made you take drugs and caused the problem in the first place, and then put you in a situation and then gave you an enema to fix it. So that would be the problem. I'm sorry to hear that, but yeah. Anyone who wants to survive what's coming, I definitely suggest that you stay away from hospitals, because they are trained in medical malpractice and don't know how true healing works, and they might try to put something up your bum. That's not okay by me. Everyone programmed to believe that they will die. I'm not sure what you mean, but we're all programmed to believe that we die. We also all see that people die. So it's kind of like, you don't really have to be programmed to know that you're going to die when you see it all around you. But when you die is obviously up to you. If you spend your life eating death and, death, what you're going to get is death. It's a premature aging and death. Whereas if you spend your time eating life, then you'll have an extended life. It's really quite simple. So yeah, I actually didn't bring the Gospel of the Holy 12 today, because I wanted to focus on Satan being controlled opposition, and I'm not sure if I forgot anything that I wanted to say, but that's my friend. I've obviously gotten to know the people that work here over time coming here, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, Race Lover says he might mean you see death because everyone is programmed to believe it's inevitable, whereas you might see something different if the belief wasn't there. Huh. Well, if that is what you mean, I would like if you have any idea of what we would think, what the different belief would be, that would be interesting to hear. Maybe as far as people that cultures that see it as passing on, like as in not death is the end, like so many, including atheists, see, but other cultures being more open with it and kind of seeing death as like a doorway to the next stage in life. The Mosaic law commanded you not to kill, and all you that want to kill perfected innocent life like Jesus are to be executed. Yes. They'll all definitely have the karma that comes back for them. All right, guys, I'm going to start to get off of here for today. If there are any other topics that you want me to discuss, if there's anything that I forgot to mention, I'll have to do it on Wednesday. But if there are any other topics that you want me to discuss, definitely get in touch with me and let me know so that we can do a video on that. And I will be catching up with you guys on Wednesday at 3:33. So until then, I hope that you have a wonderful week. May God and the Goddess bless you.